Gotta call them.
This is
All right.
like it's like when you're in
Carlos.
elementary school and you're playing dodgeball.
So I actually really enjoyed this episode, and the reason being is because Marvel is not holding back in addressing all of the questions that I think they preemptively knew that people were going to have. Uh, Starting off with Quicksilver, right? The moment that he was introduced in last episode, we thought, is he Quicksilver? Is he not? Is he going to use his powers? From the opening scene, you see him speed into the house, and that immediately, got me to thinking, holy shit, he is Quicksilver. He's using his powers, and we got to see that from the very beginning, and I enjoyed that. This episode doesn't feel like a filler because again, it's addressing a lot of those questions or thoughts that we had as fans. Introducing the Wiccan costume, and like Nick said, not really the speed costume, but basically it is. I mean, just throwing that from the very beginning is big, and I can't really think of a show where you just get more and more stuff without having to wait 6 7 episodes, and it just feels like Marvel was just packing on the action and just packing on all of these. I guess you could say you know I'd say fan service, I guess, in a way, and I really enjoy that about this episode. Another thing that I enjoyed about this episode is, like I've been saying from the very beginning, when the show felt like it was corny and that it was just too friendly or too like I guess cheesy.
Disney.
Yeah, from to a Disney from the very beginning, you start seeing those layers of that uneasiness, that there's something sinister and something just not quite right. Uh, Below the surface of what's happening, and you see that I think in this episode where it has the highest impact, where it just has like a gut punch. When you see people stuck in loops, you see some of the people in town, crying silently. Like that's some disturbing, stuff. Psychologically, I can, only imagine what these people are going through. And it's this idea that Wanda, in a sense, she is kind of losing it, and she's not really thinking about how this is affecting all of the people in the town. So I really enjoyed that we're seeing this dark path, and that we're seeing the real cracks in this perfect reality that she's created. So I really enjoyed that. Another thing that I enjoyed is that it's set that each episode, including this one, sets up so many more questions, but they're not questions that make you feel frustrated. Because a lot of times in a lot of shows, you end an episode and you think, man, I have so many questions, but they don't make sense. Nothing's getting answered. I feel like Marvel's providing answers and setting you up for questions that you get excited for. Um, some of the things that I noticed in this episode. Now looking back at the previous episodes and the previous commercials, the commercial in this one with the what's the Yo Magic, right? I
Yeah.
think it was called.
Yeah.
What I noticed is that the commercials are almost like a timeline, or I guess a moment in Wanda's life where she's had major events. The first commercial where it was the toaster commercial. I, I still think that signifies her being trapped underneath the rubble with the Stark bomb waiting to go off, and that had a huge impact, which made her want to get revenge on the Avengers, join Ultron. The next commercial was the one with the watch, the Hydra watch, and that was basically the time that she spent under Von Strucker, where she developed her powers and how she was used basically for experimentation. And then you jump to the episode where it was what was it? It was the
Hold up.
yeah the bubbles. I thought that was the yeah it was
Bubble
the
bath, wipes, and then the shark.
exactly. It was the bowl bath, and that was her, kind of cleansing herself of the influence that Hydra had on her. And then you get to the wipes, and the liquid was specifically red, and that signifies the event that ended up happening in Lagos, right, where she first, kind of ended up losing control of her powers, and now we get the Yo Magic commercial, and that was disturbing. You know,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
made you feel uneasy and almost that witchcraft kind of thing. And I think that this signifies her losing her grasp on reality because of the grief that she's feeling. And no matter how much she tries, to feed herself in a way, she can't quite actually bring herself to uh, you know find happiness, find that nourishment, I guess. And
To your
that
point, Carlos, Tron Dreamer here is saying that her brother told, or their brother told them that the commercials would be part of Wanda's conscious, and that maybe that's a part of them that she's remembering from the past, part of stuff that she's remembering from her past.
exactly, yes, exactly. And I think that all of that ties in, and he has or she has an extremely valid point, and that's kind of where I think that the commercials are coming from. So I enjoyed that, and I think that it's just creating an overall better picture of where Wanda is and where she is heading, and I think that she is heading towards the path of maybe not a House of M type of event, but the fact that this barrier and this reality is only getting bigger. I think that that's setting up the possibility for a crack in reality. And there's a lot of theories that I have regarding that. So I can't wait for that section. Just some of the questions that I have for later on are: who was the person in WITSEC in witness protection that Jimmy was even there to like find out what happened to them. Why is it that they got a distress signal, and the fact that they ended up being in the exact spot that Wanda happens to be with. That can't be a coincidence, and I feel like with so much happening, everyone's forgotten and everyone's put that on the back burner. But that's one of the biggest questions that I have. Um, I have a theory regarding Vision's body, but again, we'll get back to that later. I'm very interested in this cataract program, so I have some theories, behind that. Just some of the observations that I saw, and kind of like was it you, Nick, that mentioned Agnes, making it towards the end, and yeah. So I'm completely with you on that. I don't think she's Mephisto. I don't think that she's a villain. I really do think that she is gonna, be.
Well, I think she's a villain, but I think she's like a anti-hero kind of character.
Okay,
I don't want
gotcha.
to spoil who I think it is.
Yeah, all
Oh
right.
wait,
Gotcha. But I definitely think that there is so much more to her because of the fact that, like we mentioned in previous episodes, she's the only one that notices what's going on without having to be without having Vision break, I guess, the reality or the spell. Um, and she just notices a lot of things, and I think that there's a lot.
she also doesn't talk much different
Hmm.
when Vision went like this. When
Exactly.
Nolan completely had a completely different personality.
Exactly. So that's one of the observations that I had. But overall, I really enjoyed this episode because again, it just keeps on building that hype, and it just doesn't feel like a filler episode. I feel like it adds to the overall journey that Wanda is on, and just opens you up to wanting to have more of these questions answered. So yeah, overall, great episode. Carlo, what do you got?
Carlos Conan.
So I want to start off with the outfits. I think if this was made in the 70s, that's the type of outfits that they would have. So it's like it's not low budget, but it's like Spider-Man from the 70s costumes, where it's kind of I love the Monica and Jimmy fight scene. I was not expecting that. I was like, I mean, action packed, something that this episode lacked. It wasn't a filler. It did move the story forward, but yeah, it was kind of slow. It didn't make me jump out of my couch like last episode. It did make me chuckle a couple of times, but nothing too exciting. I love that here, like that lady. She's like stuck and doing this with a clothespin. and she's like crying. That was totally creepy and awkward.
Just on that part, sorry, did you notice the guy behind her putting the
Yeah,
snake in
the
the
jack-o'-lantern. Yeah, I noticed that the second time I saw it, not the first time. So that had like Get Out vibes. Get Out was a wonderful horror movie, and that was like totally. Oh, that's pretty cool. I saw that X-Men. I sent to you guys that scene where Pietro goes through the house, and he's like so cool. He even has that '80s song, and he's doing the moonwalk, and he's taking a sip out of the can, like showing how fast and cool he is. And it carries on to this episode. The kids, they want to be like him. They say, "Oh, that's cool. It's not lame." And then the kid changes his mind. Yeah, that is kind of lame, but they want to be like Pietro, and like he's so cool. The Kick-Ass reference, I knew there was something there. I had to Google it. Like I don't get that reference, but there's something there. So that was pretty cool that both actors that played Pietro were in the Kick-Ass movie.
Yeah.
So Agnes, she's at the border of the dome. Why? Why? I'll tell you why. Because she just wants to lure Vision.
I'll tell you why.
She wanted to lure Vision out there because
She's pushing buttons. She's doing that.
I'm not convinced that she's like she was faking it. So she was maybe she's working with Hayward. They want to use his like weapon capabilities. That's why Hayward was tracking him. He's not tracking Wanda or anybody else. He's just tracking Vision. They want to use it as a weapon. When Wanda had those red eyes, when she closed her eyes, I got excited because I thought she was going to go full Dark Phoenix mode. But you don't go full Dark Phoenix mode yet. You say that for the later episodes where it's like closer to like that's like season finale type of stuff. So I was kind of let down. But you know what? I'll be patient. I'll wait for when she does go full Dark Phoenix mode and she tears everybody up to pieces. I just dropped my phone. That's okay. So Darcy, yeah, I agree that her superpower is like Oracle. She's like a computer hacker, and that's like one of like Oracle's in the wheelchair. She can't do much, but she can hack any freaking computer. She's like badass. And same with Darcy. I don't like her. She's annoying, but that's her superpower. So in the comic books from like the '60s, Wanda defeats Dormammu, that guy right there, and then never mind. I'm jumping ahead, but that's kind of part review, kind of theory. But I'll say it now, but it's not really theory. But Dormammu defeats Wanda. I mean, Wanda defeats Dormammu, but then Dormammu like uses Wanda as a puppet. He has her in her control. So I think that Dormammu is behind the scenes because he's like in the comic books from like the '60s and '70s, and I think it just makes more sense because never mind. I'll say that for the theories. And that commercial, it made me feel uneasy, like when that dude was choking Vision's boss, like stop. It's like, oh, that's kind of awkward. It's like I feel weird watching this, and it's the same with that commercial. Like, why is this boy? He's dying. Boys aren't supposed to die on TV. I mean, that's like kind of creepy. Let's see. Oh, Zombie Quicksilver. That was pretty cool. I called it, kind of. I said there's going to be more zombie people because Zombie Vision was so cool. And like, yeah, that was amazing. And yeah, I was kind of excited about that. And I bet you there's going to be at least one more zombie like person in the future. And yeah, so the mannequin challenge at the end. So everybody's like, people at the edge of the dome, they're frozen. Why is Agnes not frozen? So that goes back to my theory, which I'll save later. Yeah.
So you guys kind of reminded me, Nuno reminded me of the whole. I'm not gonna lie, like I got emotional when Vision was saying help, and then as soon as he says help, I'm thinking he's like help me, but then he immediately is like there's people that need help, like go help them. As he's dying, like that's his last like dying word and stuff. That's a true hero right there, And Darcy as well, Darcy's over there, help him, like they are making very evident who the true heroes are in this world, in this setting right now. Everyone else is just, as soon as things go bad, they run away. Hayward immediately booked it, But Vision saying help, and then we go to the scene where Wanda just like stops everything and increases the dome size, like all of that. I got pretty emotional. I was like, damn, like, she is, once again, she's still hurting. She's in grief. She's not getting out of that phase. She won't accept it. She's not even bargaining or anything. She is just denial, 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 and that got me. And I did notice a reference that I was hoping maybe you guys would see it, and I'm thinking 98% of viewers did not catch it. I think I'm maybe the only one who caught it. I think I'm that great.
Or you're the only one that researched it on the internet.
No, we got a DC Comics character, Clown Hunter, in that show. If
I didn't see that. I'll be honest.
No, so I'm fucking with you guys, but it is. So if you go to 2251, where she sits down in the middle of the town square or whatever, and she talks with PHO. If you look at the background, there's someone wearing like a helmet and has a whole like fin thing, like Clown Hunter. And I was like, is that Clown Hunter? Obviously it's not. It's DC Comics, but check it out. And also like, it just a great scene to go back to with the whole PHO. Like once again, my wife gasped when she saw zombie PHO. But that does lead us into part 2, which is possible theories and where we think this is going. And I don't really have much other than the nightmare thing, which I hope that you guys can explain a lot more into detail, because I cannot.
Thank you, Carlos.
And but before that, let me one thing that I know, this is my crazy theory that it's never gonna happen, but if it does happen, you heard it here first. Jimmy Woo is a bad guy. Calling it. He's bad.
No.
Jimmy Woo. Why is he trying so hard? Why is he trying so hard to get into this town? Nah.
No.
You heard it here first. But no, who's Nightmare? What's going on with Nightmare?
So I'm not super versed in Nightmare, but just from what I've read and from the storylines that he's popped out from, he's actually the ruler of a dimension called Dream World. And honestly, I haven't read anything about him, about the theories online. But now that you brought it up, immediately I thought, you know what? It could be him, because his whole thing is that he feeds off of the psychic energy of people in their unconsciousness. So like when you're sleeping, dream world, all of that stuff. And I think that maybe what's happening with all of the people that are stuck inside of the dome, in a way, they are kind of in a nightmare. They are kind of in a dream state.
Yeah.
So it could be that he somehow crosses over into our universe, or he's feeding off of their energy in a dream world, because they are stuck in that kind of
so
unconscious state.
He becomes more
Using
powerful.
Wanda as like an amplifier.
And using Wanda as an amplifier. Exactly.
Okay.
Sorry, what?
I was just asking. So he becomes more powerful as he takes this psychic energy. So maybe he's trying to get into our world. Okay.
Exactly, and that also made me think. You know what? He could be using Agnes. Agnes as a conduit, and that's why, in terms of communicating and interacting with the people in Westview and Wanda, which is why she is more aware of what's happening, and kind of like you mentioned, Manny, like pushing buttons,
Yeah.
Making Wanda kind of relive or be uneasy around her because of the questions that she's asking, which only leads Wanda to exert more of a control over the reality and the people that are there.
And Pietro's doing the same thing. He's over there like reminding her about the dead husband, the dead brother, and everything. Like just constantly pushing buttons.
Yes, exactly. And as I was thinking about it, I don't know. He could have also have something to do with the recast of Pietro, because again, Wanda was extremely surprised that he showed up at the door, and I don't think that it's just a coincidence that we just happen to see Evan Peters being recast as Quicksilver, he does have that conversation with Wanda that he remembers being shot. He's clearly aware of what happened in the past, and we even get specific Avengers film showing
Past actor.
Jason Aaron Tyler
Jason.
as Quicksilver, and that's why I think that there's more to it, and it would honestly be a disservice, I think, from Marvel's part to, out of all the people and out of all the actors that they could have chosen, to choose Evan Peters, to be the recast. There's no way, with how Marvel is doing everything right now, how much fan service they're giving us, how they're just being direct about the costumes and the powers. I just don't see them pulling this kind of, I don't know, I guess, pop out or like a cheap kind of casting. So I think that there's more to it there, and it's gonna have something to do with a break in reality, and Nightmare could be part of that. Maybe Nightmare, Dormammu, and Mephisto could all be teaming up together because of the fact that Doctor Strange, and this movie is going to tie into that, has to do with alternate dimensions. They're all from different parts of
Yeah.
They're all from different dimensions. They're all reality crossover type of entities. I don't know. Maybe it is Nightmare and it has to do with it. But anyways, that's just a quick rundown on why it could be Nightmare. And that's just a little bit of background on him. Basically, he's just a dude from the dream world dimension, feeds off of people's psychic energy, and the particular realm that he's from, I think that you pronounce it Everine, I think. Everine? I don't know, but that's basically his homeworld. So yeah, quick rundown.